that's why this program is going to show through.
Let's give another round of applause to Nima.
Can everybody hear me? Okay, great. So, thank you very much for the introduction. It's very fitting for all of our volunteers, our officers, our performers, our supporters, and you all for coming out tonight. Thank you all very much. I'm going to introduce myself in Persian and then continue in English for our non-Persian speaking guests. So, سلام و خیلی خوش اومدید به برنامه شب یلدا ما. من نیما سرفراز هستم، رئیس انجمن دانشجویان ایرانی در University of Maryland. از حمایت شما سپاسگزاریم و مطمئنم که امشب شب خیلی خوبی خواهد بود. برای مهمانایی که به زبان فارسی آشنایی ندارن، بقیه سخنرانی هم یا به زبان انگلیسی ادامه میدم. So, first and foremost, welcome to our event, and it really warms my heart to see you all here tonight. I see many of my own friends, I see my family, I see many new faces that I'm excited about, and people from all over who have come to just join us. In the past, I've seen this event from many different perspectives. I'm a senior at College Park, and ever since I started here, I've seen it from the back in the food room, I've seen it as a performer on the stage, I've seen it as a volunteer, as a vice president of finance, and it's really interesting for me to see it tonight, here from this podium. One thing that's very sure to me every time before these events happen is in the few hours, we come here from 11 a.m. to set up the room, all of our officers. This is a completely student-run event, and all of our volunteers who are members that are at the University of Maryland who help us. And around 4 or 5 p.m., there's a very strange calmness that always comes over me. Some people call it the calm before the storm. I don't want to consider this a storm. It's a calm before the great event, before the night we have with each other. And every time that I come to that point, it becomes clearer and clearer to me why I am a part of ISF. This event tonight that you're sharing with us is just one of the many sides of ISF that you see. This is usually how we present ourselves to the public, and we're very happy you're here with us tonight. But we operate on a daily basis at the University of Maryland. And what I've come to realize is the Iranian Students Foundation here is truly a place to grow and explore. I myself was born in America, but it's very easy for me to relate to others who have the same experiences and heritage as me. And I guess one of the best words to describe our goal is community. We work to make an all-inclusive community here at ISF. A community is a network that strengthens people, and it's that which supports individuals. It's a place to build a sense of identity. And I know I'm speaking on my own behalf, and I hope I'm speaking for all the members of ISF when I say I've met many amazing people here that I know will stay with me as I continue to grow. The network that I've made has already helped me find many opportunities towards my goals, whether they're academic or extracurricular. And I hope I can say that, again, I speak for all the members when I say this has helped cultivate our sense of identity and just given us the confidence to be who we are. We hold weekly meetings, we hold workshops, retreats, all for our own members. And then it all builds up in anticipation to a night such as Yalda, Nowruz, or Charshamsui, which we share with you all. And just being president of the Iranian Students Foundation has also helped me interact with people from many other clubs, from many different cultures, and I've really built a worldly sense of identity as well as my Iranian identity. One thing I'd like to mention is that we here at the Iranian Students Foundation are very fortunate to have the Roshan Center of Persian Studies on our campus, which makes our university very unique. Not all universities have these privileges. Through the Roshan Center, it is easy for us to connect to Iranian language, literature, film, history, and more. Through their events, through their amazing staff and professors who help us. And I wanted to say tonight we are very honored to have the director of the Roshan Center with us, Dr. Fatemeh Keshavarz. She had completed her studies in Shiraz University and the University of London, and she had been teaching at the Washington University in St. Louis for over 20 years. Of which from 2004 to 2011, she chaired the Department of Asian and Near Eastern Languages and Literature before she came to help work with us. A few of her accomplishments include but are not limited to award-winning books, published poems, and more. So, I invited her to come speak tonight as one of our guests, and please help me introduce Dr. Fatima Keshavarz tonight.
شب همگی بخیر. من خدمت همتون سلام عرض میکنم و امیدوارم شب یلدای خوشی داشته باشیم. منم مثل نیما جان صحبتامو به انگلیسی میکنم برای اینکه زبانی که همه چه هموطنای عزیز ما و چه مهمانای غیر ایرانی میتونن دنبال کنن زبان انگلیسی. به هر حال به زبان فارسی خیلی خوش آمدید. I introduced myself and welcomed everyone, and it is a great pleasure for me to be here at the University of Maryland. It's barely about 4 months that I'm here. I teach a course right now, a survey to Persian literature, and I have 24 wonderful learners in there who are very, very intelligent and interested. Some of Persian heritage and some just interested in learning about Persian culture and literature. And that is one of the main points I want to bring up in the short time that I have to speak with you. One of my goals as the director of the Roshan Center would be to move intellectually, to move the Persian studies to the center of the humanities at the university, so that we are not just sitting in the margins, and that's not to say that the Roshan Center was on the margin, but to say that in general, Persian studies is often thought of as something very exotic, something you think about only in terms of miniature paintings or some really exotic art object. Or worse, political conflict. Whereas Persian culture has a tremendous amount to give to the world, and the way to do that is to connect us with all the different aspects of the university. Earlier this semester we had an event with the National Geographic on an evening with Rumi that brought hundreds of people to the National Geographic who had not had contact with Persian before. We're very much hoping that in the spring semester we'll have a major event called 1000 Years of the Persian Book with the Library of Congress. Again, around that we could organize events and activities. The idea would be to bring Americans and non-Iranians, whoever is around who's not in contact with Persian, in contact with it, and let them see aspects of it which are not necessarily political or foreign or something exotic, but really very much a part of the human civilization. Also, the center will be providing new graduate scholarships. We're very much hoping to partner with departments like Women's Studies, History, and any other department on campus, so that we can bring into those departments bright graduate students whose field is in part Persian studies, but in part any other discipline that they are interested in. Again, the idea would be to train leaders whose work is not just Persian studies, but they are also very well trained in it, but they do have another field which takes them again to the center of the society. Another project, and I can go on many different projects, but I'm not going to bore you too much, but another project we're just starting is a Roshan translation project, where we would start creating a database, translating with Persian and English and storing there, both for the access of Persian speakers in Iran and English speakers across the world. We think that this would be connecting this group together, would be a service that would last. Finally, we hope to have summer music and poetry workshops for all the learners of Persian. I've done this with Master Hossein Umumi, the ney player, in the city of Seattle, and now we're going to move it to Maryland, and hope that Persian learners would join us for learning Persian and music and poetry, and those who join there might get interested in learning Persian. So, on that note, I'm going to ask all of you to please send me an email And it's a very easy email. It's F for Fatima, K for Keshavars, and another K for my husband's name, Kar Mustafa. So fkk@umd.edu. And introduce someone to us who is interested in Persian or may become interested in Persian, and we'll reach out to them and bring them into the activities of the center. Now, do I have a couple of minutes to talk about Yalda, or did I overrun my time? Okay. You probably are all knowledgeable about the event, but I think for the guests who are here who may not know about Yalda, this is a very old tradition, the celebration of the winter solstice. And it usually is celebrated on the 21st of December, but of course we won't have the university in session at that point, so this is the best way to do it. It was believed, that night was believed to be the night at the end of which Mitra, the god of light, or one of the goddesses of light, was born. It could be actually was viewed sometimes as a part of Trinity with Ahura Mazda and other portions to that entity of light. This isn't unusual or peculiar to Iranians. All the ancient traditions and ancient civilizations had to make use of natural resources in order to survive. Rivers, trees, mountains, and animals. That's why they often celebrated and revered animals even. And they also celebrated light and darkness, because the end of the day, the length of the daylight was tremendously important in their lives. So Iranians were among those people for whom seasonal change, and so the end of the winter or the beginning of the winter, the beginning of the spring, and also the end of day and night was very, very important. Now, Indians had Mitra. Even Buddhists had a Maitreya, or a Bodhisattva, or an enlightened being. So there was a lot of connection between these civilizations. Who influenced who? I bet every one of them thinks that they influenced the others, but what really happened was probably confluence. They all had different ways of exchanges, and so these ideas got strengthened because they were very practical. You come together with people in winter time, you give them warmth, you share food. If there were problems between family members, it would be resolved. And why? And you would eat watermelon and pomegranate. And why watermelon? Probably because a peach wouldn't survive from summer to winter, but a watermelon would. So they would bury it deep in the earth and bring it out at that point. And remember, at that point, people did not have out-of-season food or access to that. So it was a way of celebrating the nature, celebrating each other, and giving each other support through the winter, while at the same time, the celebration of the goddess of light, or a representation of light, which was a force of goodness, became the center of that togetherness. Well, tonight, I wish you and all the members of this wonderful student group, of a Persian student group, a wonderful Yalda with all of those good things, wonderful food, and of course, togetherness and great light. Thank you very much.
So, thank you very much, Dr. Kashavaz. If we could all give her another round of applause, please, for coming. Before we begin our program, I actually wanted to take a moment to introduce an amazing group of people who have definitely made this night possible. Without them and this team that I work with, the other officers of the Iranian Students Foundation, I don't know where I'd be right now, what we would be doing, but they definitely help make ISA possible, and they're one of the most passionate groups I've ever met. Their titles are quite self-explanatory, but beginning with the beginning, we have our Vice President of Finance, Arash Pahlavan. Our Vice President of Membership, Navid Najmabadi. programming, Pega Pashai. Our Vice President of Public Relations, Dorsa Asha Javan. Our Recording Secretary, Milad Emamian. Our Historian, Harisa Zolfagarian. Oh, excuse me, I mixed that up. Sheda Musavi, I apologize. Our senior advisors, Harisa Zolfagarian. And our other senior advisor, Kayvon Roshdieh.
On behalf of all of the officers, I'd like to present Nima this bouquet. And I just want to mention that coming from another old-timer, Nima's been there with me, seeing these changes in ISF for the past 4 years. He was my vice president of finance 2 years ago when I was president. It's not an easy job, I tell you. And I want you all to know that I have never, from any of the presidents I've seen anyone this organized and this successful in their first event. So please give Nima another round of applause. So now I'm going to let him talk again.
Well, that was certainly a surprise. Thank you very much, officers. Feel free to ask any of them any questions tonight, give them suggestions, talk to them. I told them they should be up for that. Just a few notes before we finally begin our program. In light of it, please respect the performers who go up and try your best to keep the side conversations a little bit down. I know myself, when I was a younger student, I always got in trouble for talking in class, and it's difficult for me, my own mother knows. But just out of respect for the performers, we'd like to ask you to just a friendly reminder to remember that. And during intermission, for our guests who arrive later in the evening, they're bringing a second round of food. So during intermissions, they're going to open the lines up again for you. Without further ado, please help me welcome the MCs again and get the program started.
Alright, let's give another round of applause for Nima, the officers, and Dr. Keshavarz. So, now that we've all learned the history of Yalda, how about some Geri Santur? Hey Arman, did you know that Santur means 100 strings, but it doesn't have 100 strings? Oh, sorry. Anyways, let's give a warm welcome to Nick Roshdieh.
معروف به King of Strings. Whoa, stop. What are you doing? Nick?
Christmas carols.
This is not Christmas, it's Yalda.
So I should do some Yaldo carols?
Yeah, do you guys want Yalda carols? Okay, come on. Let's get some sunnati.
Okay.
الان می‌دونی حوث چی کردم؟
حوث چی؟
حوث شعر.
اوا چه جالب. You're in the mood of a poem and our next performance is a poem?
اتفاق میفته دیگه نه.
You know what? I've heard that Nariman and Sina are great poets. You want to invite them on the stage?
Sure. نریمان کجایی؟ بیا اینجا ببینم چی میگن این پوئمی که می‌خوای بخونی.
Nariman, you want to tell us a little bit about your poem?
I'm not really a poet, but thank you for that compliment. I'll be reciting a poem of Hafiz for you. And as some of you might know, Hafiz is one of the greatest poets of all time in Persian literature and poetry of Iran. And it's really interesting, after like 600 years, people still have his book at their houses and take it out and read it every now and then. And it's really special to Yalda night because we want to go back to our origins and to our ancient traditions. So I will be reading the original poem from Hafiz in Farsi, and Sina will be reading it in English translation, and Salman will be playing the sitar for us, accompanying. Thank you.
Let's give a warm welcome to Nariman, Sina, and Salman.
یا رب این شمع دل افروز ز کاشانه کیست؟ جان ما سوخت بپرسید که جانانه کیست؟ حالیا خانه برانداز دل و دین من است، تا در آغوش که میخسبد و خمخانه کیست؟ باده لعل لبش کز لب من دور مباد، راه روح که و پیمانده پیمانه کیست؟ دولت صحبت آن شمع سعادت پرتو، باز پرسید خدا را که به پروانه کیست؟ میدهد هر کسش افسونی و معلوم نشد که دل نازک او مایل افسانه کیست؟ یاربان شاه وش ماه رخ زهر جبین، در یکتای که و گوهر یک دانه کیست؟ گفتم آه از دل دیوانه حافظ بی تو، گفتم آه از دل دیوانه حافظ بی تو، زیر لب خنده زنان گفت که دیوانه کیست؟
This joyous light brightens my heart. For whose lover has set my soul this Cupid's burning dart? This state wrecks my house and my faith. Whose bosom enfolds her, and whose fingers her hair part. The nectar of her lips always remains upon my lips. Whose soul will comfort, and for whom pour a wine quart? That candle who radiates riches and joy, ask God, whose moth flight tonight shall thwart. Mesmerizes everyone, while none can know, to whose tale her gentle heart will wake and smart. O God, that supremely gentle and graceful face, whose rare jewel is tonight, and whose irreplaceable art, I sighed, O Hafiz, that I'm crazy when apart. Smilingly you said, who is the mad one from the start?
واقعا مغز من یک خورده با این موسیقی ها و این شعرها یک خورده رفت یه دنیای دیگه و اومد و پایین و اینا و همینطوری واسه خودش.
That really was a beautiful performance, and now we're in luck because we have another lovely traditional performance. We have the girls from the Persian dance troupe under the leadership of Neda Movahed, my lovely sister, Ariana Faizi and Anahid Mahsumi, performing with their girls Yasi Badi, Ashusa Pahtavan, and Tahmina Nikakta. They're going to do a beautiful miniature dance for us.
فکر کنم یه لیست رو حفظ کرده و همه‌شون هم داره این میخونه.
They're all my friends, I know them. And they're going to do a great job for us tonight. So let's give a warm welcome to the beautiful girls of the Persian dance troupe.
اینا که بچهای خودمونن که اینا که مال خودمونن.
برنامه جالب دیگه از ISF.
And now what we're gonna do is ajir furushi. So everybody, make sure you grab out your dollar bills because we're selling ajir for $1. And when you buy a bag of ajir, you also only during intermission get a raffle ticket for 5 excellent prizes.
Let's hear those prizes. 2 t-shirts of ISF. 2 tickets for Nowruz.
No way.
And 1 ticket for Chorshambe Suri.
Wow, these are